Hi everybody, Andrew here, and today we're canning cherries to make cherry pie filling. These are cherries I picked from a local fruit farm, but frozen cherries or ones from the grocery store will work as well. The first thing I did was measure out 12 cups of cherries, then I washed them in cold water. The next thing is to remove the pits from the cherries. If you have a cherry pitter, this will make things go a lot quicker. I didn't have one, so I used a metal straw and pushed them out. If you put the straw where the stem grows out, you can push the pits out right through the bottom. Once the pits were removed, I remeasured my cherries to make sure I still had about 12 cups. Now we are going to start cooking the cherries. First, mix 4 cups of water, without spilling it like I did, and 2.5 cups of sugar. Bring it to a boil and keep stirring to make sure the sugar has dissolved. You can adjust the amount of sugar based on the type of cherry you have. Consider adding more sugar for tart cherries and less for sweet ones. Then, add a 1/3 cup of lemon juice and bring it to a boil again. Once the lemon juice is boiling, carefully place the cherries into the pot. Stir constantly on medium heat until the cherries start to break down. Eventually, they will start to foam, and that's how you know you're almost done. Remove the cherries from the heat and scoop off some of the excess foam. Now we can start filling our jars. I had my clean jars sitting in the canner with the rack up on medium heat while I was cooking my cherries. This warms the jar up so they don't shatter while pouring the hot cherries in. If you aren't using a canner with a rack, you can heat the jars in an oven at about 250 for 15 to 20 minutes. If you don't have a canner, you can use a regular stock pot, but make sure you have something on the bottom of the pot, like a cut-up wire rack, to keep the jars off the bottom of the pot. Ladle the hot cherries into the jars, leaving about a 1/2 inch of space at the top of the jar. Use something to poke around in the jar to remove any trapped air bubbles. Wipe the rim of the jar with a damp paper towel and place a clean lid on top. Tighten the rings so they are fingertip tight and place them in the canner. This recipe makes about 6 pint jars if you distribute the cherries evenly. On my 6th jar, it was mostly liquid, so I put it in the fridge to use as cherry syrup. Lower the jars into the water, making sure the jars are covered by 1 inch of water. Put the lid on and bring it to a full boil. Once the pot is at a full boil, set a timer for 35 minutes for processing. After the time is up, remove the lid and take the pot off the heat and allow the jars to sit a few minutes. Then take the jars out and let them cool completely. You can test the seals by pushing on the top of the lids after they have cooled. They should not move. If they didn't seal properly, you can put them in the fridge and use them right away, or you can place a new lid on them and reprocess them. When you're ready to make cherry pie, you can add a cornstarch slurry to the cherries to help thicken them up. If you find that they're too sweet, you can also mix in some more lemon juice. If they are too tart, you can heat them up in a pot with more sugar and cook them until the sugar dissolves. Leave a like on this video if you learned something new, and get subscribed if you want to see more canning videos in the future. As always, thanks for watching and happy canning!